Hello, Stephen White, TrekBoy89 here, finally doing a review of Captain Marvel. Now, I went to Sydney to go to the Mardi Gras and I wasn't able to access my YouTube for the week, so I missed a bunch of videos, so I had to just do a whole bunch at once. Orville, Star Trek Discovery, the third season renew, all that. And Captain Marvel as well. Now, I was going to see the film because I wanted to be able to review it. I wanted to see if it was as bad as it was looking. There was a lot of controversy about it, but I was so offended by Brie Larson's comments and being a white male, sort of feeling like it wasn't made for me. I wasn't welcome. She really put that vibe out, and that she didn't literally say it, but she pretty much was like, "Yeah, no, not for you." I decided I wasn't going to give them the money. So I didn't steal the movie. I didn't sneak into the movie. What I did was I bought a ticket for a leader battle, whatever. Forgot the name. I bought a ticket for that, which is on at the same time. And I just went into Captain Marvel instead. So I gave my money to a leader, but I watched Captain Marvel mostly just so I could do this review or just to see it. And I didn't want to miss it because it is connected to all the other Marvel films. Same as Doctor Strange, I didn't like the whitewashing in that, so I didn't watch it in cinema, I didn't buy it on DVD. I borrowed it from my local library and watched it, so they didn't get my money. I did see the film because I didn't want to miss any part of the Marvel cinematic universe. I didn't want to miss any pieces or clues or anything to what was happening with Endgame. I did want to see them, but I didn't want to give them my money, I didn't want to support them. So I went in. It was 10:15 in the morning. It was the day after it opened because it actually opened on Wednesday, which I didn't realise it opened on Wednesday. I expected it to open on Thursday, and it didn't open Wednesday at midnight. It was open the whole day, at least in Sydney. And I saw multiple sessions for the day, so not just late ones or the midnight. So it was there all day. So I went in the next morning because I had to travel that night and had to meet people in the evening, and it was the only time I could watch it, so then I could come home now and just do my reviews and relax, and then I have to be rushing out to go see Captain Marvel tonight. There's also the effort factor. It's a 10-minute walk from my friend's house to the cinema, so it was a lot easier to do, so I did it. It wasn't the shitstorm I thought it would be. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. Brie Larson did the film a huge disservice with her on the PR trail. Just everything she said, it was just toxic. It was just feminazi and activists, and the film, it doesn't really represent the film itself. The film is a feminist movie. Has an activist theme, but it's subtle. It doesn't slap you in the face. I didn't find it insulting to men. I didn't find it condescending. There are a few little things that are like kind of obvious. When she first lands in the Blockbuster store after I'm not going to go too much into the actual story. There will be spoilers, but it's mild. I don't know who's going to watch this before seeing the film. She gets up and she sees a standee of True Lies, Jamie Lee Curtis and Arnold Schwarzenegger, and she blows Arnold Schwarzenegger's head off. And obviously that's symbolic of her destroying toxic masculinity and all of that, and I didn't miss that. I don't know who would have missed that, but I've only watched a couple of reviews before doing this, and Midnight's Edge mentioned that, and I'm like, yeah, that was pretty clear what that was. But it was still subtle in its own way. It's not like it lingered for ages. She just saw something shot, and then you realise, oh, it's a True Lies standee, and Jamie Lee Curtis survived. So there are little things like that. I mean, the bad guys, of course, are white men, or white actors, white men. It's not really on the nose. It's just the characters, the heroes just happen to be women. The villains just happen to be men. It's not because they're men. It's not because they're women. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. It was okay. The film itself was just an average action movie, superhero movie. It was a little slow in parts. I didn't quite know what was happening, so I don't really know the backstory of the character. The film starts off on her home planet. And she's training, she's traumatized, she's got these memories, and it takes a while before they work through it and you realize um, what happened. And I'll go into it a little bit. Basically, she was raised just a normal human girl. She had experiences of sexism, which you see as a girl being told she's too weak to stay down, that she's too emotional, things like this. But they don't seem that unrealistic. I could imagine men saying things like this. It didn't bother me. I sort of just didn't bother me. It just was okay. And she test flies a prototype for basically a light drive ship that can go faster than light. That is being built by a female scientist, and it it was done to yeah, they had good reasons. So they're going through all this. They crash. The engine explodes. That's how she gets her powers. But she is kept in line by the Jude Law character and taken by that race and trained but contained. And eventually she realizes that she has been used, that she has been kept down, that they are holding back her powers, and she discovers, releases her powers, and saves the day. And it didn't bother me. It didn't seem forced. It was just a good action movie. I don't hate it. Don't have any real problem with it. The only problem is Brie Larson's acting. You see in the film that her humor and her emotion are repressed. So she's kind of a repressed woman. So on an acting level, that is consistent. But it's still, there are scenes where she could have shone and she could have shown some real emotion and broken that, and Brie didn't really pull it off. She came across a lot of the time kind of flat, kind of snide, not warm at all. I never really engaged with her. I never really felt. The other actors were all great. Everyone, every single actor in the child, her best friend, Rambo. I've forgotten how. Oh, I should have written down the names. I just wrote some notes while I was in the cinema, which of course I now can't read. And yeah, all the actors were good. The effects were good. Some of the sets and things they weren't that spectacular. It was just basic, spaceships and battles. And I think people are reviewing it a bit harshly. It wasn't the best of the Marvel movies. It probably was one of the 5 least entertaining. But they're all pretty much on a par with each other. So even the least entertaining was still good. So it's a good film. It's a good action film. It's a good superhero film. If you can get past the main character not really being likable. So you're not going to love the character. You're not really going to want to watch it again. It's not going to be something you return to. But it's worth seeing. But if you missed it, there's obviously you see Endgame, you're not really gonna miss anything. There's 2 end credit sequences that set up Captain Marvel's place in the film, and there's some rumor that they reshot scenes so they could go either way. If Captain Marvel doesn't do well, then the original Avengers team are going to have more of a part in overthrowing Thanos, or whatever his name is. But there's also talk that there are other scenes where Captain Marvel saves the day. So if the film's a hit, it may affect how Endgame is actually done. And there's some talk of some of the other actors not being happy with her beefed up role and her sort of coming in last minute. And it does seem kind of forced, and there does seem to be an agenda behind that. And but the film itself, it wasn't a big, huge slap in the face, hate men, activists film. Like, if you just followed the press tour and Brie Larson's comments, you would have thought that's what it was. And it wasn't. So she did the film a huge disservice. She if she is a good actress, then she played the character too repressed and didn't let her have her moments. And the moments that she did have were, they weren't really convincing. I never really could forget I was looking at Brie Larson, and if they had another actress, even if she gave the same performance, I think it would have been different. I think Brie, if it doesn't make as much money as it was predicted or should, it's all on her shoulders. Her performance and her representing the film. So I don't really want to go through all the story. That's a longer review. Basically, she has no memory, goes on a mission, crashes on Earth, is chasing these shape-shifting aliens who did remind me of the Suliban, just like Andre from Midnight's Edge said, because didn't look like them. They looked more like the Remans from Nemesis, but they had the same abilities to change, and there's a little bit of fun with that, but I don't think they went as far as they could. And there is a plot twist, which I'm not going to ruin in case someone sees this before the film, and I doubt many people are going to watch my reviews, but I don't want to ruin the film for anyone. There's a plot twist I didn't see coming. It wasn't hugely complicated, and it's not something that it's something that's done, but I didn't really see it, and it was nice. It was a nice twist, and at the end, of course, they have a fight sequence to No Doubt's Just a Girl, which came out after the film is set, but it's not actually playing in a scene, so it doesn't actually have to be totally accurate to that time, just that era, so that's fine. And some people are saying there's a strong subtext of activism, and I guess there is, but it's not really in your face. I mean, she basically is repressed by a man, or what is a power that is represented by a male character, and she discovers that, and when she discovers that and literally stands up against it, she gets her power, she saves the day, she doesn't go overboard, she doesn't kill him, she still is able to save the day and still keep her dignity and integrity, and she basically just tells him when he's trying to challenge her and trying to get her to fight, she says, I have nothing to prove to you. And that's a good message. To find your strength, own your strength, and not abuse it. I didn't really have any problems with the film other than Brie Larson being a bit flat and alienating audience members like me, and I couldn't go with her, basically. I just was she sort of put me outside the film a little bit, and I was watching it a little bit more as a critic than being able to actually get into it, which all the other Marvel films, I had no problem getting into them and enjoying them. Yeah, she leaves to end the situation that is revealed in the plot twist. Goose, of course, Goose is great. He's underused though, but he's great. Samuel L. Jackson did a good job of handling the CGI cat, because it's a bit obvious when it's CGI, and there's a lot of times that CGI when it probably didn't need to be, but Brie Larson is allergic to cats, so they had to have a fake cat or a puppet cat or a CGI cat, because apparently I probably couldn't even be on set with her at the same time, I don't know, but that was funny to find that out after the fact. But Goose is great, Samuel's great, the CGI, the aging, everything is good. The overall effects are good. There are a few scenes that were quite spectacular, a lot of action sequences that worked. The train fight with the old lady was great. Without going too much into the details and having too many spoilers, I'm just going to leave it there and just say it's a good action film, it's a good superhero film. The activism is subtext. It's not, I didn't feel like it was in your face. I didn't feel like it was bad, and basically the only problem with the film is Brie Larson and how she has portrayed the character, and then how she has promoted the film, which, considering how few people there were in the audience, because I went fairly early in the day, but for the first second day, because I don't know how many people knew it was opening on the Wednesday, because in Australia movies usually open on the Thursday. There weren't a lot of people there, and they were probably mostly men and some older men. I actually went into the session before me, because I was sneaking into the cinema. I had to check. One session was on already, and the next one was coming up. I had to go in and check that if that cinema was showing the film, then the one I was going into was, because I knew it was showing in one of two cinemas. And I went in, and wasn't a lot of people. It was mostly men. One particular comic book guy looking guy was sitting right in the front, because I sat down in the front for a few seconds, made sure it was the right film. Left as I walked out. His reactions were pretty funny to watch as I was walking out, looking at people's faces with the light. So I'm not sure. There's talk of a lot of bad reviews, and they're all being blamed on Toxic Men, and I'm not sure how well the film is going to do, because it's getting a lot of negative reviews on just the quality and that it's slow, or some people saying it's bland. And I think most of that's put down to the character not being engaging, and that's all on Brie Larson. So I think they made chose the wrong actress to star in, characterize, and promote the film. So I'd probably give it 5 out of 10. Because I've watched plenty of films with actors and characters I didn't care about, just to watch the effects and just for the overall epic element. So I would have watched it either way without her PR. But yep, so Brie Larson's the only problem with this film, but it still manages to save itself somehow. So I'm going to leave it there. I might do a more detailed review later, and listen to what some other people are saying, and I have something more to say. But thanks for watching, and hopefully if you see the film you'll like it too, or maybe even like it more. I'm happy for other people to like it. I'm happy for you to like Brie. I don't have any issues with anyone liking this film. I just found it hard to engage with her, and she just alienated people before they even got in the door. And yeah, I'm just going to leave it there. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy the film.